Welcome back for another fun-filled episode of Liberal Hypocrisy Meets Video Game Journalism. This video is going to shine a bright light on another non-controversy that has turned into a real controversy, and thankfully this time for all the right reasons. There's an article titled, Sifu's Kung Fu Brother is made by a studio full of white developers, that I will be referencing for the entirety of this video. Now, the title of this article is probably making you think, why would that matter? Why would it matter if an entire studio is white? Are gaming studios not allowed to be white suddenly? Well, of course not. But the reason why this author slapped together a meaningless article is because in his belief, it is unreasonable for a mostly white studio to pay homage to something Asian. As if he owns that or something. Basically, this is another Ghost of Tsushima incident, where an incredibly talented studio makes a game about Asian history or culture, does so with reverence, succeeds in their goals, which ultimately leads to the liberal crowd crying, cultural appropriation. Fortunately, the liberals' tears will fall like a tree in a forest with no one present. Dwell on that one for a bit. Let's start picking this dumb article apart already. The first quote is not surprising. But like Ghost of Tsushima before it, a game that's set in pre-modern Japan, Sifu was made entirely by a team of white developers. Even its consultant, Ben Calusi, a martial artist they hired to choreograph the fistfights in Sifu, and who also doubled up as Sifu's cultural consultant of sorts, is a white martial artist who's well-versed in Pak Mai, one of the more aggressive forms of Chinese martial arts. Notice how often he's addressing how white the developers are. It doesn't matter that the white guy knows martial arts. The problem for Ki-hoon is that they are white. If the fight choreographer was black, would Hoon be saying anything? I wonder. Another fun example of how far south this article is going to go, we read, Slow Clap's attention to detail is admirable in an industry that does only the bare minimum for diversity and representation. And a small part of me is glad to see some positive representation of Chinese martial arts, without the game resorting to racist cliches like mustache-twirling villains with Fu Manchu facial hair. You mean like Aaron Raw? Hey, if you're gonna hassle everyone breaking the holy cultural appropriation, Sid, I just wanted to avert your attention to a huge nonconformist. This next statement is pivotal, by the way. And to be fair, there isn't anything particularly egregious about Sifu so far. So, he's admitting that the game is fine. The game could be really good. He just hates the fact that it's been made by white people. It's literally that simple. The very next sentence is just too funny, so I had to include it. Here it goes. I've seen the trailers, watched several gameplay videos, and discovered, to my huge relief, that there have been no misspelt Chinese words. Wait, hold on a second here. You mean to tell me the Chinese never butcher the English language? Like when you go into a mall and get a massage and you venture into good hand? There's only one good hand in that massage parlor, guys. The other one is questionable. But wait, it gets better than that. And zero philosophizing of the concept of honor, be it by the protagonist himself or the game makers. That's right, folks, because you can't discuss honor in a video game developed by whites. Is that right, Kun? Whites are incapable of perceiving, acknowledging, or attributing any sense of honor. Do I have that right, Kun? Kun goes on to suggest that only white people will complain about Tencent, as if there are no valid arguments or reasons to not be a fan of Tencent. But I'll ignore all that for now. If what Kun has said thus far seems fairly racist against whites, and only against whites, you're not wrong. But it gets worse. Much worse. Let's take a quick look at his Twitter, shall we? I quote, Do I hate white people? Yes. Now, here's where Kun goes off the rails and nosedives into a gorge. Let's all put on our make-believe hats for a moment. And just for pretend, all pretend to agree with the liberal law of hate speech. Okay, we all agree with hate speech. Would what Kun just said be considered hate speech? Yes, because Kuhn literally used the word hate in his question squarely aimed against whites. He literally said, and the internet is forever, Kuhn, that he hates white people. If anyone should be publicly chastised for hate speech, it's Kuhn. Kuhn, the anti-white racist, was dumb enough to answer his own question instead of being vague. He just laid his racism bare for all to see. He immediately goes on to say, and if you're a friend, whoa, wait, stop right there. I would never be friends with someone who admits to hating whites. Why would I ever consider a despicable racist like that as a friend? In the same tweet, he goes on to belabor the white privilege lie, as most anti-white racists do. But the fact of the matter is, if Sifu's studio was filled with El Salvadorians or Brazilians, Kuhn would have never said a thing. He would have kept his mouth shut, but because Sifu is made by a mostly white team, that means the liberal crazies get to wheel out their favorite racial supremacy talking points and act as if it makes logical sense. So there you have it, another lunatic on a hate binge, trying to make his hate sound logical, and I will always endeavor to put these nuts in their place until they learn. But will they ever learn? Probably not. But it'll be fun trying anyway. Hey Kuhn, have fun with the backlash, buddy.